Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo. Welcome back to Destiny and yet another legendary weapon spotlight. If you guys missed last week's episode, I'll have a link for it down in the description below. We went ahead and took a look at the Hawkmoon auto rifle, but today we're taking a look at a very special hand cannon, one that is only available from Crucible drops, and one that I think is very much worth seeking out and attempting to tame. Go on the hunt, spend some time in the Crucible, see what kind of perks you can get on this thing, and just maybe you can find a use for it even in PvE, much like I have. That hand cannon, of course, is the Eyasluna, or the Baby Hawkmoon, as many of us are calling it. I'm calling it the Baby Hawkmoon. It's a wonderful little red hawk. Just like in real life, hawks are red when they are young, and that's exactly what they've done here with the Eyasluna. One day, young hawk, thou shalt sail beneath the silvered moon. Obviously, Hawkmoon is a silver hand cannon. Love what they've done with this. I like the little bits of story and lore that are hidden behind this weapon. More of this, Bungie. More of this with all of your legendaries will make me very happy. Visually, you can see a lot of similarities to Hawkmoon in its base shape and design. That cylinder shape that is very distinctive to Hawkmoon is there. We've also got that weird laser sight sort of power-up thing going on there. I was always convinced that that was what made Hawkmoon do that extra damage, but either way it looks cool. It's kind of like a multi-laser thing. Honestly, I don't know. Bungie just likes to put cool stuff on their weapons and then have it be inoperable, which drives me crazy, but overall this is a lovely looking hand cannon. I like the idea of the red fading to a dark burnt red at the end of the barrel, as if the exhaust from the hand cannon when it's fired is actually burning away at the paint. It just looks sick, you know? It's a really cool legendary, and it's very reminiscent of Hawkmoon, because it's supposed to be Hawkmoon's little brother. But you know what? I think in this relationship, the little brother, the little girl thingy, whatever we want to call it, is superior to the older one. It's superior to the father, superior to the big brother, the big sister, because if we take a look at Hawkmoon compared to Eyasluna, Eyasluna has some sick stability and reload stats. We have that same 11-round magazine, a little bit of a reduction on the impact, the same rate of fire, and again, a small reduction on range. But the stability and the reload on this hand cannon is absolutely sick. Definitely makes it a beast in the PvP if you're looking to use it in the Crucible. But today, we're going to focus on why I love it as a PvE hand cannon. Obviously, 11-round magazine makes it solid. Going down to quick draw here, we're taking a loss to stability as, you know, at the cost of improved reload, but honestly, it's more than worth it to me. This thing is still ridiculously stable, and we've got a super snappy reload, which is what I want in a PvE hand cannon. There's nothing worse than firing off 11 rounds or less than that, perhaps, depending on your hand cannon, and then having a 5-minute reload. You almost always end up switching to your secondary, and then you end up with weapons dry, the last thing you need in any PvE situation. Second row perk, Relentless Tracker, very PvP, nothing I can really do about that. I've just kind of gotten over it, and it still has performed really well for me in PvE situations. Third tier, we've got a choice between Snapshot, Explosive Rounds, and Injection Mold. Explosive Rounds, why the hell not? I don't really need Snapshot in PvE, and I definitely don't want anything to do with Injection Mold. This thing is more than stable enough. I do not need to take that huge loss to range unless I plan on just doing all close quarters with this. Last, and definitely not least, we have Mulligan. I actually really enjoy Mulligan. I think it's a super fun perk, and in PvE, it's just nice to be able to go kind of like crazy, you know, all out guns blazing on a group of targets. Maybe even you're engaging in Ultra or Major, and have that opportunity for that to proc and get a couple rounds back in the magazine. It seems like it happens quite often with this thing. I don't know if we can get lucky and demonstrate that here. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3... So we got 3 in total. That's the most I've seen to get out of it so far. Sometimes they proc early on and you end up, like, you know, getting all of them in a row. Sometimes they're kind of spaced out, but really just, I dig Mulligan. I like having it on this hand cannon, and it kind of brings this whole thing together. For me, despite that Relentless Tracker perk, this is a hand cannon with a lot of great small pieces that when put together makes a really solid hand cannon in just about every scenario. A big part of that is the target acquisition. This thing seems to have some nice aim assist boosts, and it just feels quick and snappy to get on target. I mean, like, no problem, just, you know, sort of headshot after headshot. If you miss a few rounds, it's like, whatever, 11-round magazine, get that chance for Mulligan to proc. Let's take down this Major here. Like, 11 rounds in a hand cannon is so nice. I know it's not uncommon, but I just really appreciate it in a hand cannon. And honestly, the biggest reason for me wanting to talk about Eyasluna, you know, is because it really has become my favorite hand cannon in Destiny. Honestly, out of all the hand cannons that I've had, even going back to the launch of the launch of the Taken King, as well as going back to the launch of Destiny, I haven't really found one that's just kind of clicked for me as well as this have. I'd say the last hand cannon that I really enjoyed was The Last Word, and that was because, frankly, it was really overpowered, and I was a huge fan of the fan hammer. But this is just a solid choice. It feels good. And I pretty much at this point have dismantled all of the other hand cannons in my inventory. I got like 3 or 4 versions of Imago Loop with different perks on it. Didn't care for any of them. Even when I got a set of perks that was similar to Fatebringer, making it a pretty solid PvE choice, it just didn't feel as good as this. And I like being able to have snappy target acquisition in a hand cannon. It's just for some reason it works for me. And you get that quick reload, you can get on an ultra, you can lay in all 11 rounds, and then you can do a snappy reload, and you can get back into the fight really easily. It's not a problem. And I've got quite a few pieces of gear that actually boost reload for hand cannons that can speed this up even more, and I'm all over that. I totally love this thing because of that. Another great, part of it is, despite the fact that its range is greatly reduced when compared to Hawkmoon, it still has pretty solid range. I mean, if we take a look at some of the shots that we can land here crit-wise from a pretty, reasonable distance, considering the fact that hand cannons just don't have the same range they used to. They've been, balanced in the Taken King. It still is just pretty solid. I mean, I know these are low-tier targets, but sometimes you just need to do some pot shots with a hand cannon, even in a heroic or nightfall situation, and this thing will get the job done. It has good range capabilities, better than I expected. I think that's why I was so surprised. I was really expecting it to be quite poor compared to a lot of the hand cannons that I've used, especially some of the Amalon stuff. Like, I love my Vanity, but it's really only good for, like, up-close gunslinging. It doesn't really excel anywhere else than that for me. This just seems like a much more versatile all-around hand cannon. I just can't recommend this thing enough. I love the appearance of it. I love the whole, baby Hawkmoon thing going on with it. It's just a lot of fun to use. Do I hope that I can get another one of these in the Crucible with a more PvE-focused role? Yes, I would love to get something else besides, kills with a weapon grant enhanced motion tracker resolution. I don't even care for that perk in PvP, to be honest. It's not something that I really enjoy. But overall, this thing has actually turned out to be pretty solid in PvE. Go on the hunt for this. If you're someone who really wants this thing and you enjoy Crucible, there's no reason not to just keep an eye out for this thing and cross your fingers and hope that it drops one day. I know there's a lot of PvP weapons that we're often on the search for, and I think this should definitely be added to your list. I've actually recently started a list of legendaries as well as some rares, weapons, and pieces of armor that I want to try and get that are random drops. And I'm thinking about actually printing some of those images out and like lining the corner of my desk with them and just kind of checking them off as I go ahead and actually obtain them. So Eyasluna was on that list, and I managed to get it 2 weeks ago, so that's exciting. That's one off the list. But I did want to give you guys a short bit of a teaser for some of the stuff that I have coming up in the future in terms of weapon reviews / legendary spotlights. First and foremost, though, if you guys have your very own Eyasluna, I would love to see it. Please share an image with me down in the comment section below. It will be flagged, but then I will approve it. It will appear. You can share that image or whatever you want to do, whatever works for you, or just tell us what perks your Eyasluna has and what situations you like to use it in. Is it your Crucible hand cannon? Is it your PvP hand cannon? Whatever it is, please share it. That's one of my favorite parts of the series, is hearing, your version of the weapon that we talk about. Because, of course, since it is a random out in the wild style drop, everyone's going to have different perks, and that's what makes it so fun to share. But looking into the future, we've got some cool stuff coming up. I managed to get my hands on Darkblade Spite. This was another weapon that was on my list. This is the fusion rifle that is obtainable from the Alec Hall Strike. So I'm still working on leveling this thing up, having a lot of fun with it. Great high-impact fusion rifle, and I'll actually give you guys a small tease of it. If you haven't seen this thing, it has the coolest charge-up mechanic. I don't know why, I just love the overall appearance of it. I like what they've done with the shell of it. There is one other sort of Brethren-styled weapon to this, and it's a pulse rifle that I'm also looking to get my hands on as well. Also, managed to finish up leveling Sleeper Stimulant. Sleeper Simulant. I spent a bunch of time with this thing. I'm looking to do a full review and make it one of my very first exotic weapon reviews. So you guys should definitely keep an eye on the channel for that. And today, in the same Alec Hall Strike, I managed to use my 3 of coins to get my hands on a Zalo Supercell. Zalo Supercell, however you want to say, Jalo Supercell. An upcycled torrent of righteous thunder. So I'm super stoked about this. Been using this thing. Myself and a couple other members of my fire team have just been grinding strikes on and off since the launch of the Taken King, trying to get our hands on this. We're some of those people who didn't actually exploit the 3 of coins thing like everyone else did. Not everyone, but a lot of people did. I know there's some of you out there who don't like exploits either. I wanted to unlock it for real. It felt so satisfying when I got this thing to drop today. I was just like, yes, Salo Supercell. Oh my god, thank you, Alakal, I love you so much. So really stoked about that. There's a lot of awesome weapon coverage, and also a lot more discussion stuff coming to the channel in the future. There's just a lot of cool Destiny stuff. If you guys came to the channel from Planet Destiny, just a big thank you for coming on over, checking out the channel, giving it a look-see. And I know a lot of you guys liked what you saw, and I hope to see you sticking around well into the future. Destiny's a big game that hopefully is going to have a long and healthy life, and I am here for the long run. If you guys have any questions for me regarding today's video or anything regarding the channel, as always, feel free to throw it down in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. Until then, get on out there, head into the Crucible, and start making that hunt for your very own baby Hawkmoon. It's well worth the fight.